G'day guys, back with the Outer Circle. Today, Road to Thramas Part 5, The Lion. Finally, I'm getting around to actually talking about the Lion because I've been waiting on him, essentially. Waiting on some rules, waiting on something more to talk about than just a couple of screen grabs of him. Well, now we've got that, so let's get talking. What do I think of the model? I actually really like it. There's one thing and one thing alone that I think is unnecessary, but doesn't really detract from the model in any way, and that's his little elbow horns. He has a little pointy elbow fixture, and that's it. That's the only thing I dislike on the model itself. Other than that, I think the model looks great. It is interesting that he's bearded. In a lot of previous interpretations, he didn't have a beard. But that's sort of something that's come about ever since the Angels of Caliban novel. I think on the artwork on the novel cover he had it, and he's had a beard ever since. Okay, fine, whatever. It's not really a problem at all. I like the beard. Just I wasn't expecting a beard. The Night Lords on the base, yeah, it makes sense he'd be hacking through a lot of Night Lords. Interesting that they've gone for the sculpted on shoulder pads with the Night Lords iconography, where that's never been done in the past. Generally, the Marines, it's left up to you to pick which Marines you're going to put on there. So it could be his own Dark Angels that have fallen on the ground, that he's defending the bodies of. It could be any number of things, really. Any number of chapters or legions that he's fought. It's fine. Looks great. As you can see in this artwork here, looks good. Looks fancy hanging out in the back there. And we get to some stat lines. So, Weapon Skill 8, pretty solid. Ballistic Skill 5, it's fine. Most Primarchs are Ballistic Skill 5, except for Alpharius. Strength 7, strong. Most Primarchs are only Strength 6. It's Magnus, Vulcan, Ferris. I think Perturabo are the Strength 7 Primarchs. Toughness 6, yep, perfectly normal. 6 wounds, normal again. Initiative 7, slightly higher than the average. 5 attacks, very middle tier, middle row. Leadership 10, fine. 2+ save, fine. Obviously this is going to be backed by some form of specialist armor, which we don't know about, because we only have a couple of his special rules here. The Lion's Collar. The Lord of the First Legion has faced terrors unimaginable by mortal men and triumphed, and vanquished foes threatened the utter extinction of life as it is known, and slain creatures more vast than even the greatest war engines. When he went into battle, there were very few foes worthy of death at the Lion's hand, and only those that could prove by bloody defiance that they were worthy of his enmity would witness the true colour of the Lion. When reduced to 4 wounds or less, he gains +1 attack, increased to +2 attacks, and reduced to 2 wounds or less. Yeah, strong rule. We'll help him out as a duelist in even late game at shredding units. Keep in mind though that all these Primarchs, except for maybe Magnus and Lorgar, they all excel in close combat, but they've got to get there, and that's what gets hard for Primarchs. Corax is generally probably the best at getting from one combat to another, followed by, I guess, Sanguinius. The thing with Corax though is that because you can just withdraw him from a combat, if you can see that the combat's basically won, rather than leave him stand around scratching his balls to be shot at by the enemy afterwards, you can just withdraw him from play, which is a very handy ability. Yeah, most Primarchs are like that. They usually go in, absolutely destroy the unit they charge, and then they're left standing there to get shot at the next turn. And in Heresy, there's a lot of stuff that can hurt Primarchs. Absolute focus. Among his brother Primarchs, the Lion was renowned for his prowess in combat, but not because of any unique tricks or subtle blade work that might confound the foe. He was neither the exquisite duelist that Fulgrim epitomised, nor the raging berserker that was Angron, but rather something more terrifying. He fought with an absolute focus and chilling detachment, unstoppable on the attack and immovable on the defence, and once brought to battle he knew no other end than victory or death. In any assault phase, Lionel Johnson is never required to roll more than a 4+ to hit against any enemy model, regardless of the enemy's weapon skill, any special rules or modifiers in play. So, yeah, again, really, really strong ability. Because, model like, well, he's going to hit Magnus on 4s, but he's only going to hit Russ on 4s as well. Russ's Winter Armor, which is a -1 to hit bonus, as well as Russ's weapon skill combined, it's not going to mean jack shit. So, yeah, that's pretty strong. Yeah, he's a great duelist from the look of all his rules, which is fine, you'd expect that. Where things go a little pear-shaped, though, is when you get to his actual weapons. It's the Lion Sword. Strength user, AP 1. Special rules, it's melee, lance, fleshbane, mastercrafted, two-handed. Yeah. Okay, before I say anything on it, let's look at the other weapon, the Wolf Blade, which is also melee, but it's +3 strength, AP 2, two-handed, shred, and fearsome ruin. Fearsome ruin. Any unit which suffers one or more casualties from this weapon makes a morale check during the assault phase, must roll an additional d6 for that check, and keep the 2 highest dice to determine the result. Alright, here's the problem. The Lion Sword is his dueling weapon. Yeah, it's going to wound other Primarchs pretty easily with the Fleshbane rule. I suppose it will have no effect really on Mortarion. I'm pretty sure Poison and Fleshbane Mortarion is only wounded by 6 by weapons with those rules. Since it's not optional, if you do try and use the Lion Sword on Mortarion, that would lead me to think that it won't work very well. I could be wrong. I think it would just... Yeah, it would... even though you would wound him on 4s normally, the Fleshbane rule means you would actually only wound him on 6s because it's reducing the ability. So that's not very good at all. The Mastercrafted, yeah, that's good. Rerolling to hit. So you're going to have 5 attacks with rerolling to hit on them. AP 1. Functionally useless because, as everyone knows, 2 is the best armor save, or 2+ is the best armor save in Horus Heresy. Therefore, being able to wound someone with AP 2 or better is all you need. AP 1 doesn't mean jack crap. So, yeah, okay, AP 1, better at destroying vehicles. But he's only got 5 attacks, average. Yeah, may get bumped up to 6 once you lose the wound. So it's basically a 1 in 6 chance of getting a penetrating hit against most vehicles you want to get a penetrating hit on, like Dreadnoughts, Land Raiders, that kind of thing. Because the Lance special rule, it's going to drop their armor down to 12. Well, if he's using this against those type of units, it's still not great chances. Like, 1 penetrating hit, and then it's a 50-50 on whether or not it's actually going to... And I mean, that's if all of your attacks hit. It's only a 50-50 chance whether or not that's going to actually destroy the vehicle. Up against something like a Custode Dreadnought, like an Achilles, or a Talmon, something like that. Or probably, no, not the Achilles. What's the one with the sword? Custodes Dreadnought with the sword. That thing has a giant Presidium shield, so that's going to mean he's only hitting it on 4s. So only half his attack's going to hit, which means you're only looking at like a 50% chance of him getting a penetrating hit in with the sword. Essentially what I'm getting at here is, it's not a very good vehicle killer. Strength 7 and Lance at AP 1. If it had something like... If he has something like Tank Hunter in his rules they haven't seen, different story. Because, rerolling the hit and such... rerolling the vehicle penetration roll is huge. But so far I can't see him having that, therefore the weapon is not very good. Conversely though, the Wolf Blade is not meant to be his duelist's weapon. and yet +3 strength, it's going to wound all Primarchs on 2s. It's not going to suffer from those effects that the Fleshbane weapon is. Also, at strength 10, he's going to instant kill toughness 5 units. That's very strong. AP 2, he's still going to deny armor saves to most units. Shred, he's going to be getting rerolled to wound against most units. So not only is it 2+ to wound, but he's going to be rerolling it. And against vehicles, well, on a 4+, he can pen armor 14. So it's technically better taking out vehicles than the lance weapon is. The Fearsome Ruin rule, it doesn't really stick out to me and make me go, oh wow, what a great rule. I'd rather if it was something similar to like the Siege Wrecker or on the Leviathan Dreadnought where it does like D3 wounds for every wound that gets through or something, like making multiple wounds. That would make this thing absolutely ferocious against monstrous creatures. As it stands though, the Wolfblade, a giant chainsword, is just way better at killing stuff than the Lion Sword is. Therefore, pick of weapons will have to go to the Wolfblade currently, which is absolutely bizarre. The Fearsome Ruin, any unit which suffers one or more casualties from this weapon makes a morale check during the assault phase with an additional D6. That's going to stack up very weirdly with Wordbearer and Salamander's special rules, who already add additional D6s to their morale checks. So you'd be rolling like 4d6 morale checks and then picking the highest and the lowest dice at the same time. Very bizarre. That's another case I've spoken about before of rules diarrhea. I think I have a whole episode devoted to it way back when, that says essentially they just keep adding special rules on top of weapons to try and make them more unique from one another. But I don't think that they've thought them through, and this is one of those cases where I'm like, okay, maybe? I don't know. In any case, what a bizarre set of rules for weapons. And yeah, Conrad Kurz is not going to beat him in melee. He's going to hit Kurz easier, he's going to wound Kurz easier, and the absolute opposite is going to happen with Kurz hitting back at the Lion. So I don't know that you'll be able to do a remake of the short story Savage Weapons. Of course, if we get a Causeway model, you can at least try it. Causeway, of course, being the Dark Angels champion, who is just king shit. Alright, that's all I've got to say for now on the Lion. Lovely model. I prefer it without the helmet. But I'll probably magnetize it so we can have both the head, the bare head, or the helmet. And I'll probably magnetize him again so that I can wield both the Lion Sword and the Blade. But, as I say, for gaming purposes, if you were trying to get the maximum potential out of your very expensive model, you would go for the Wolfblade, go for the Giant Chainsword. Me personally though, I'm more interested in how something looks than it performs for my Primarchs collection, because as everyone would know, I have them all. Yeah, it looks nicer with the Lion Sword and the bare head, but that's just me. Back with the Outer Circle. Thank you all for watching this episode, and I hope you got something out of it. Road Thramas Part 5, The Lion. See you all next time.